Welcome to Capital Critters, your favorite wildlife podcast. Today's episode, a plague of itchy noses.
We're not talking about allergies or colds. Today we're going over the fungal disease that is devastating our local bat population for the last 15 years, white nose syndrome. Now, you may be wondering who we are. Well, my name's Tommy. I've always been an avid animal lover, especially when it comes to heavily stigmatized animals. Snakes, rodents, bats, and other so-called pests get generalized as gross and creepy. This means that the general public cares less of them compared to, the fluffier creatures. That's just not fair because every living thing is essential to the way nature functions, no matter how unpleasant we as humans find them.
Hi, I'm Will, and I think people take the environment we live in for granted. There's a lot of people, me included, who don't know a whole lot about what lives around us and how much of it is a part of a larger system. And I think the wildlife we encounter should be respected personally. We still don't appreciate the impacts we have on the ecosystem we are in fact a part of. Bats aren't thought of much, despite their role in maintaining insect populations that people will complain about. Also, despite everything dying off, no one seems particularly concerned, so I'm going to make it their problem. Ottawa is actually home to a really diverse range of bat species, with approximately 150 calling it home. And I'm going to say that the most relevant ones to this are the big brown bat and the little brown bat. But I would also like to shout out the hoary bat, spelled Hoary.
Oh, and don't forget about the eastern pygmy bat. Now, we ourselves don't actually know that much about bats, but someone who does know about our special guest today, Mitra, an environmental student who helped track the bat populations in Gatineau Park. We'll be like, what is the biggest threat to our local bats?
Because is it still like the white nose fungus?
That's still a big problem. There's, what I've heard from migratory bats, there's also surprisingly wind turbines. They whack them.
So what is the fungus that you were, the white-nosed fungus?
What happens with white nose syndrome is this fungus, it'll get on the bat, and then while they're hibernating, they obviously need all this energy to survive the winter. But the white nose syndrome, it itches their snout, and they have trouble breathing sometimes, so they kind of wake up and they're scratching at their face, and they're wasting all this energy, which eventually makes them really weak, and then they die off either from hunger or whatever. They're just weaker to other things that normally wouldn't kill them necessarily.
Oh, so it's not necessarily the fungal infection itself that is lethal. Yeah. It's the side effects.
It's the fact that it just interrupts hibernation, generally making their life harder to the point where they can't expend the energy for other activities.
That's really interesting. It's sad, but it's interesting that it's by proxy is the way that it's killing them.
Well, I think that so many diseases are blown in terms of we focus on how lethal it is, a disease is immediately, or how much of a severe impact it has on your physical health. But we don't really talk about the fact that some diseases just change your behavior, change your routine enough to just throw you off and just slowly, I guess, kill you over time.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's bad?
It's projected that they're not, some of the species are not going to make it back to their original, population.
Well, because I know that, one of the big things they keep saying is just don't interact with the bats. Stay out of wherever they're, sleeping. Avoid their caves. Avoid anything that you could bring in contact with them, because isn't that part of where, the fungus was introduced to them?
Yeah, it's not native to, this region. I'm pretty sure it came from Europe. But yeah, it is very important to not, go near the bats. Mm-hmm. I had a field partner who told me about how people were also worried about rabies. I had not been worried about rabies until she told me about it. But then she was immediately but also rabies is not that big of a risk with bats.
Is the main thing that the illness, are there any invasive species or anything that are competing with the bats or eating the bats, or is the bats just they're really fighting this illness?
It's the illness. I know part of it is also human development, where they're getting rid of wetlands and just areas with a lot of insects, which is the prey for a lot of the bat species that we have around here. So that also sucks. So they're just kind of getting like bombarded on all sides.
They're ill and their food is going away and their shelters are going away.
The amount of pesticides that is released, that can't be, like, that's obviously going to be bad, like, because we just kill a ridiculous amount of bugs. Because I know that, I think, which lake is it? It's, I used to see bats along, like, some of the, like, smaller offshoot lakes, like, around White Lake, or I know there's a series around Port Severn, but I can never remember the name of it, where you'd see bats, like, pretty consistently in, like, some of this cottage country stuff, and I haven't seen a single bat in maybe, like, 10 to 7 years.
That makes total sense, sadly.
I do know they're around Bruce Pit. I've seen them out and about around Bruce Pit, which is a forested area, which makes sense for them to be there.
Yeah, that makes sense. I took out a bat detector once a couple years ago when I was working on like a bat monitoring survey.
Is it just like to detect ultrasonic, like just the sounds they make?
Yeah, which is, obviously less invasive than like actively like going and touching the bats. So I took it out. I live in Canada, so I took it out to this, like, it was like this random pond that was like literally surrounded by houses, but I took it out and we detected I think hoary bats, which, I mean, they're just, fun fact, their calls are like the lowest, so sometimes, like, lowest in frequency, so sometimes people can hear them. I cannot, because my hearing is terrible.
That's really cool. Because, I would assume most bats aren't in the frequency in which we can hear as people.
It's like, I've visited a cave where there were a bunch of, I think, little brown bats hibernating there, and it was very strange because at first it just looked like leaves were just hanging from the walls of the caves, which obviously doesn't make sense, but you get closer and I was like literally like a foot away from the bats, and they just like, they were not reacting at all because they were like hibernating.
Wow. Are there rescues that specialize in bats that you know of?
There's definitely people like conservationists working to help the bats. Like I know there's some projects where they have bat boxes. I think the city of Gatineau was also doing bat boxes at one point.
What is a bat box? You've mentioned it twice and you have not elaborated.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So a bat box is literally like, well, there's a bunch of different versions, but it's literally just like a box of wood. Like, it's a very skinny box. It was like wide and tall, so the bats, they can like fly in from underneath. And then there's like little perches on the inside so they can sleep there.
Oh, so it's like, it mimics like the habitat they were looking for.
Yes, exactly.
Because what I do know is that there have been several instances where people have put them up and you are legally not allowed to take them down once they're put up, I think, if you have the correct permits. Like,
oh, wow.
At the very least, there have been several people I know who've talked about, like, if you really want to stick it to an HOA, if you put up a bat box, they cannot touch them.
All right, Mitra, thank you for joining us today. I had a lovely time.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks so much for having me. It's been really great to talk to you guys.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. I'm just glad, thank you so much for making the time to come into the studio as well.
Yeah, it's been really fun. I've been kind of dying to see how you guys do what you're doing.
Now, if you heard all that and you are thinking to yourself that you want to set up your own bat box and you're wondering how to do that, if you go to blog.ontarioparks.ca, they do have a old article from August 28th, 2021, that's how to build a bat box, where they list all of the supplies you will need to build one, the step-by-step instructions on how to build them, as well as instructions on how to set them up and maintain them after you've set them up. So something that Will and I have done is that we've both found our own fun facts about bats that we're going to share with each other. So, Will, you're first.
Did you know that bats make up a fifth of all mammal species on Earth?
That's a fifth. That's 20%.
There's probably more species of bat than like.
They're the only flying mammal.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
So there's really nothing else like them.
I do think it's insane that bats basically what's the term? Convergently evolved the same type of wings as like certain pterosaurs in the past.
Oh.
Well, yeah, because the Well, kind of, because it's the finger bones.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure with a lot of them, they would like basically ride on like the knuckles. Like I think it's only they only like had the one like long arm thing with the finger, but it was basically the same like way it curled up and they would walk on them.
Oh.
Because it was a membrane that was like stretched across their wingspan.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Rip the Quetzalcoatlus. It was a real one, and also the biggest flying animal ever on this planet in the history of Earth. I just want to say once again that we really appreciate Mitra coming on and giving us her time to talk about this. It's been really great to kind of have a better understanding of the issues here, because I didn't realize how bad this was.
And that's a wrap on our very first episode of Capital Critters. We're going from one flying friend to another in the next episode and diving into birds, the things that threaten them, how we can help them, as well as a special look into the Ottawa Valley Wild Bird Care Center.
Don't miss out. Make sure to like and subscribe, as well as check it out on other platforms like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Transistor.fm. And remember, every action, no matter how small, is essential to the environment. See you next time.